What's up, YouTube? So I want to talk to you guys about a couple of things. One is the Prince family slash DMB Nation colorism vandalism situation, quote unquote, that recently happened. And I want to talk about the situation where the rapper Tory Lanez spoke out about colorism that was happening on the set of his music video. All right. But first, I want to talk about the Prince family, DNB Nation. So, as many of you probably know, the Prince family, and this consists of Bianca, Damien, and their children. All right. And of course, we know about them. Well, I know about them, and probably you do too. But that whole drama on YouTube with the birth of their child, particularly their daughter, and being very concerned about very superficial things, that tend to be very reflective of colorism. All right. But in this video, I just want to touch on their colorism vandalism drama that happened. Personally, I think a lot of people were a bit like, really? That happened? Someone got so triggered that I think they live in a gated community, and they jumped over the gate, broke, like, with some spray painted your new Lamborghini that just happened to be out in the driveway. And, these folks got money to get a Lamborghini. I'm like, how? I'm not trying to be a hater, but I'm just saying, like, I guess this YouTube thing must be paying off for them. I ain't mad at them. But apparently they're trying to milk this ish for more money. Apparently, I'm not sure why they would go down this route. I kind of just thought they would just have put out their video addressing the colorism situation and then just left it at that. And, people call bullshit on that video too. But, seemingly the Prince family loves bullshit because they're just very much pursuing it at this point. They're pursuing bullshit at this point. So apparently somebody vandalized their car and spray painted, quote unquote, colorist bitch on their vehicle, their Lamborghini, I believe it was. And some people were just calling bullshit on that because it's just like, well, first of all, the security tape showed a man doing it, and people said that it looks very similar to Damien. um, but it's a bit weird because people were like, well, usually black men don't really give a fuck about colorism anyway. Not if they do, I don't think they would be jumping over gated community fences and vandalizing cars, spray painting color as a bitch on it. And honestly, it probably would have been more believable if like they had like a black woman on camera doing it, especially like a brown skin, dark skin black woman on camera. Thankfully, they didn't try to pull that shit, because if that was the case, then it would just be open season on all brown skin and dark skin women. That one brown skin dark skin woman who's an extremist would represent all the color, all the brown skin dark skin black women who speak about colorism. They're extremists. They're open to violence. They're out of control. See, this is why people treat you the way that they do. It's not because you're dark. It's because you're angry. It's because you're bitter. Yeah, that bullshit, right? So, and people were, what did they ever file a police report? I don't think they did. I think they probably don't want to go that far with it because then you really would be going and getting deep into it, and then you have the police coming and investigating shit that they know is not real. And I think even like one of their YouTube buddies called them out on it too. Um, yeah, but that just goes to really show you that they didn't really take that colorism stuff seriously. Notice that really speaks to them. Oh, it's a joke. Ha ha. He. It's not a joke. But that's how they took it. Oh, it's a joke. It's a joke. Let's have some fun with this. They're looking to get views off this shit. Versus, hey, maybe I should really just take a moment and just think, hey, maybe I might, have some internalized colorism. But of course, Bianca and Damien, they just don't strike me as that type that would be willing to do that. I think they're very much focused on very much obtaining views, likes, clicks, subscriptions, and as well, very much just invested in colorism. Very much brainwashed and invested in colorism. So they're probably not going to be speaking out on anything pertaining to colorism advocacy anytime soon, right? They'll speak about on some stuff like the backlash that they got from the birth video. They'll speak about that. But they're not going to speak out on anything that actually challenges colorism. They're just going to speak out on things that would help defend colorism. All right. So if you ain't know they were shit, by now, then this situation here really lets you know that they just ain't shit. All right, they really ain't, because they didn't really have to go take it to this point. Because at this point, it is kind of making it like, ha ha, he, oh, let's joke about it, let's have fun with it. Oh, this isn't anything serious. So at least you know who you're dealing with now. So at this point, what can we do, right? I think the ball's in our court, our move. So, and I didn't even know about them until this whole situation happened. All right. But let's move on from that bullshit to some other bullshit. All right. So Tory Lanez, he's a rapper, and he was filming a music video, and apparently something happened where it was like a dark skin model and like a light skin / mixed model. And the director swapped the dark skin model out for the light skin model. And then Tory was like, nah, don't do that. She was here first. And, very polite to the model who was being swapped out. Because they originally swapped out the light skin model for the dark skin model. They replaced her with the light skin model. And then Tory spoke out and said, no, the dark skin model was here first, and he even complimented the light skin model before, sending her on her way, right? And also TMZ wrote a story about this, so I can read a little bit about TMZ's story as well. So here's TMZ's, spin on this. Tory Lanez claims that a couple directors working on a music video he was a part of tried swapping a dark-skinned woman for a light-skinned one on set, but he wasn't having it. The Canadian rapper posted a behind-the-scenes clip of him being filmed for Naf Small's Good Love video, which officially dropped Thursday. Okay, so he must have been featured on the video. Okay. In Tory's BTS video, you can see a black woman dancing next to him, but at some point, it appears someone behind the camera motions for her to leave, only to be replaced with a lighter-skinned woman, a lighter-skinned black woman. That's what TMZ wrote. And, I'm not saying that doesn't happen, because that is a thing. Many dark-skinned models have spoken out about situations like that. So I'm not trying to downplay that situation, but let's continue. Tory calls for a timeout and brings back the darker skinned woman. It sounds like he says, quote unquote, we don't even need that. Going on to tell the lighter skinned lady that she's beautiful. Film picks up from there with the original woman back in place. All right. So Tory, he spoke up in defense of the dark skinned model, you know, because they were trying to replace her with the lighter skinned model. And, of course, we're all like, oh, that's wonderful, Although I don't really think it should be novel, or an anomaly that a black man is, having a phenotypically black woman in his video, and that he, well, for one, that he even has to really make this sort of a stand, but also that this isn't already standard. This should be kind of like standard, like, oh yeah, of course, well, duh, they should people should already know this. Like if you go into a white music video, it's kind of standard that the white men have white women as their love interest or whatever, right? They may have others, but it's like standard. Well, yeah, he's white, and of course he's going to have a white woman, right? Same thing with the Latinos and Asians, right? So it seems like it was a bit weird. Like, shouldn't this already be considered standard anyway? But let me go on. So Tory says what he experienced is an ongoing issue in the entertainment industry and that it needs to stop. He says, sure, he might joke about the black community like everyone else does, but quote unquote, what I'm not about to do is allow any of these directors to devalue our black women. All right, so this is him talking on a post on Twitter, I believe, or some social media website. And he's saying that he ain't going to let any of these directors devalue our black women. And that's great. That's definitely something commendable there. All right. But keep it real, it's not just the directors. All right. He adds, countless times I've seen directors swap out our women of color for women of lighter complexion, or women with straighter hair, etc. Here's where I start to call bullshit, right? So you remember that previous comment that I wrote that he said black women, right? He referred to black women as black women in the previous comment. Now he's using the term women of color, right? Countless, quote unquote, countless times I've seen directors swap out our women of color for women of lighter complexion, or women with straighter hair, etc. So right there, I'm like, okay, he's seemingly referring to black women as women of color. He may not be referring to black women. He may be referring to black women. It's a bit strange now because he's not specifying black women like he did in the previous comment. It's these little details that you got to really watch out for here. Because like they say, the small details tell a big story. All right. And I find that very weird that he made this switch up here. But it happens again, by the way, too. All right. Tory finishes by writing, quote unquote, it's our responsibility as artists to stand up and not let this happen. It's been time to embrace our women of color. Again, with this women of color thing. And the thing is, when black women are, advocating for black men, or whatever you want to call it, they tend to refer to black men as black men. I rarely hear black women say men of color. If they were talking about black men, they're saying black men, right? They're not trying to quote unquote pretty up the category or whatever, or to make it sound more palatable, or to perhaps, because I think he may be trying to kind of like toe the line a bit and not really say what needs to be said because he doesn't want to alienate other parts of his fan base, maybe, or something like that. But I just, again, it's just a little strange. Perhaps I'm reaching. Maybe I'm reaching, but this is just one of the things that kind of like triggered like a red flag for me. Because, like I said, you really don't hear black women saying men of color when they're referring to black men, right? That's something to be cognizant of. And I think that kind of goes over a lot of people's heads. But that is something to think about, though. So black women can refer to black men as black men, but black men sometimes tend to want to say women of color. Heck, even that LeBron James situation that happened a while ago where he said colored women. That's how you knew you should have, that's how we knew, or that's when we should have known that he was on some bullshit right there when he called black women colored women. What the hell? All right. So here's the last part of this article. Interestingly enough, it looks like the shot of the woman dancing next to Tory in the White Room didn't even make the final cut of the video. But she makes multiple appearances throughout regardless. Okay. That's interesting. We've reached out to the director duo of Good Love, Capone X Guys, I guess, to see if what Tory's relaying here is actually what was happening in the moment. No word back yet. All right, so that's the situation, and I'm going to call bullshit on this whole situation. It could very well be completely 100% true, but as a safety precaution, right, I'm going to assume that it's some bullshit for now. And the reason that is because I just know these Negroes a little bit too well. And I don't put anything past these industry niggas, to keep it real. They'll do anything to achieve or to maintain some relevancy, fan base, some currency. Heck, just look at what the Prince family did. Just look at what they did. All right. And also, didn't Kendrick Lamar do some shit like this a while ago? He did something like this a while ago, where they were making a big deal that he swapped out the light skin mixed model for the like brown skin dark skin model. And I'm like, why is that really a big deal? Shouldn't that again be standard? Shouldn't we already know? Like, shouldn't that just be like what it is? And right then it's like, okay, I think we on some bullshit here. And then, Kendrick Lamar was all talking about darker the berry, the sweeter the juice, and, chocolate this, chocolate that, and shit like that. And then, of course, it came out that he was with the woman that he's with now. And then it was like, oh. And, I kind of feel like something like this is at play, perhaps, with this Tory Lanez situation here. Whereas, like, he might be, trying to search for a cookie. He might be hungry for a cookie or some sort of a snack from black women or something. And I think he may have been in some like situation where he offended black women a little while ago. I'm not really familiar with him, so I think that may be a part of this too. But it's just like, and like I've said, I presented my case to why I think this is bullshit. All right, first he's referring to black women as women of color. All right, that's right there. I'm like, nah. Black women are, yes, quote unquote, yes, they would be considered quote unquote women of color, but black women are black women. You feel me? When you're referring to black women, specifically, you need to specify black women. Women of color can be a lot of different ethnicities and races of women, not just black women, right? And then, of course, the situation it seems to give me some Kendrick Lamar vibes too. So that's another reason why I'm like, Again, he posted this situation here. And of course, some people may feel like, oh, he's trying to just expose the industry for what it is, whatnot. You know, and that could be, I can see where people would think that, and why people would think that, you know. But for me, um, Tory had said something in this post that something to the effect of, well, let me see if I can read it. All right. Quote unquote, countless times I've seen directors swap out our women of color for women of lighter complexion, or women with straight hair, etc. So he says he's seen this, quote unquote, countless times. So, it's like, why now? What made you speak up now versus the other times that it was happening? And not to say that we all can't, get woke. We can, we've been asleep and then we wake up. That's true. But for me, it's just like, don't give it too much, black women. Because sometimes some of you set the bar so low for black men and just they do the littlest thing and y'all act like it's just the best thing ever. And then somewhere along the way, you wind up getting disappointed because you done hyped this Negro up so much over something so small that he did that really shouldn't even be as hyped up as it is. And then somewhere along the way, he show you his true colors. And then you're like, what the fuck? I just got played. And how many times you gonna take an L, black woman? How many L's you gonna take? So basically what I'm trying to say is just, tread lightly, feel the situation out. If he's really truly sincere, this will not be the last of his, gestures in favor, in defense of dark-skinned black women. And as well, perhaps he may speak out about other issues that are going on in the community in regards to colorism, that relate to colorism. If he's truly sincere. Again, don't give it too much just yet, Wait a minute. And see where it's at, because sometime next week some footage gonna be coming out about him saying some foul shit about brown skin, dark skin women or something, and then you're like, oh well. But I'm going on for long enough, so thanks for watching. Feel free to comment. Let me know what you guys think. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.